This video is a PSA to all my gamer friends. If you're tired of unworthy remasters and remakes such as Horizon Zero Dawn and The Last of Us Part 1, if you're tired of endless sequels over and over again, if you're tired of the lack of innovation in the industry, and if you're tired of these major companies constantly nickeling and diming the customer, all to fulfill an arbitrary quarter profit earning or stock price, you're playing the wrong games. The future of the gaming industry is not going to come from AAA publishers. No. The future of the industry when it comes to innovation is going to come from small independent teams. The idea and concept of this video came from me taking the time over the holidays and revisiting some of my favorite smaller independent games. Games like Kena Bridge of Spirits, games like Out of Action, games like Sifu, and more recently, games like Supervive. All of these games are made by independent teams and studios. They are not made by major AAA companies. And the one thing that you will see within these games is that these games, not only do they attempt to try to bring something new to the table, but every one of these games are made with love, passion, and care. And when a game is made with these things, the game typically turns out very, very well. Kena Bridge of Spirits was a very artistic game, very similar to that of, let's say, a Pixar movie. It was done really well. It was a lot of fun. Then you have Sifu. Sifu is like a martial arts beat 'em up brawler that blends with a little bit of a roguelike atmosphere. Now, that game, I wish the developers got the John Wick franchise because they could probably make a kick-ass John Wick game. You have Out of Action, a PvP first-person shooter made by one person that is slated to release this year. And then, of course, we have Supervive, a small team of former Valorant and League of Legends developers making a battle royale hero shooter with a MOBA twist to it. These games all bring something fresh. Now, don't get me wrong. A free-to-play game like Supervive obviously has an in-game shop because the developers have to make money. Where other games, such as Kena Bridge of Spirits, is a purchase game where you have to purchase the game. But each and every one of these games has something in common, made with love, passion, and care, so that the product that they put out is a quality product for us, the consumers. Whereas when you look at the major AAA developers, they don't make their games with this in mind. I'm not saying that the dev teams don't put love, passion, and care into their games, because they obviously do, but they are subjected to their boss, and their boss is subjected to their boss. And all their bosses care about, all those suits care about, is an arbitrary profit hit at a certain sales target. They want their stock prices to go up. They want more money in their pocket. That is why you have games like Call of Duty, full priced, literally with microtransactions. That is why you have Sony, who remakes or remasters games that are not even 10 years old, that still look and play great and run on current hardware. Again, I'm not against remasters or remakes, but remasters and remakes should be of games that you can no longer play on modern hardware, such as Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 collection that was released last December. Those are remasters that are acceptable, not a game that is currently available. But that's our fault because we bought that shit, and we shouldn't. So many smaller developers come out with a great quality product that goes unnoticed, and we, the community, need to smarten up. If you want that innovation, you want to play a quality product where the product comes first, where you, the gamer, the consumer, comes first, this is the way to go. Support your smaller independent studios. There's a lot of great games. Case in point, last year, 2023, should I say, Game of the Year winner was an independent studio called Larian Studios, who made the mega hit Baldur's Gate 3. That's made by a small independent team. Well, the team may not be small, but it's an independent team nonetheless. And yet, that is what it takes. That's where the innovation is. You go back to the year 2020, and while The Last of Us Part 2 won Game of the Year, it really shouldn't have, because that should have gone to Hades. Hades was a phenomenal game. That should have won Game of the Year in 2020. Hades 2 is scheduled to release this year officially in 2025, and it should not be missed by anybody. But that's my point. The point is if you want innovation, you want fun, you want a game that's going to respect your time, you don't bother with AAA games. I'm not saying never ever buy a AAA game, because that would be very hypocritical of me to say, because I know I support AAA games as well. There is room for AAA games. I'm not saying don't buy them, don't support them, because there are some great experiences in the AAA space. But you shouldn't ignore the smaller independent games. You shouldn't ignore these little games, because these games are often cheaper on the consumer and give you a great experience that was made with love and passion. And that is something that is sorely lacking in the games industry in 2025, because the games industry has been hijacked, kidnapped by suits and executives who only saw a means of making a quick buck and don't give a rat's ass about the art form that is making a video game. The men and women who put themselves, the blood, sweat, and tears, the long hours of work to put themselves into the game to make a quality product, just for some suit to order them to say, hey, put this microtransaction in here, put this shop in here, charge this price, etc., etc., etc. None of that money goes to the developers. The men and women that make the game, they don't see that in most cases. In most cases, all that extra coin just went to some suit who did absolutely nothing on the game itself. So the way I see it is it's the smaller dev teams. Recently, very recently, Shift Up, the developers of Stellar Blade, due to how well Stellar Blade sold, gave every one of their staff members a bonus and a PlayStation 5 Pro over the holidays. That is what I'm talking about when you support a smaller dev team. The smaller dev team, they will take care of their employees because they understand that they are all in the trenches together making the same product. Whereas these big companies are just suits that don't even get their hands dirty. So when I say support indie developers, this is the way to go. If you want innovation, if you want the industry to move forward, if you want something different, if you want something that is going to respect your time, made by people who have love and care and passion, while simultaneously being rewarded for their work, indie games are the way to go. Because the big AAA publishers, they're just going to pocket the money for the suits who did absolutely nothing. These games that I've shown in this video today are examples of games that are doing something different, that give the audience something different. And they're all fun to play in their own right, and they all do something different, and they're all unique in their own way. But most importantly, they're made by people who love and care about the game, and they are the ones that get rewarded for their efforts, not some suit who just sits in an executive office. So I encourage each and every one of you gamers, support indie games in 2025. Supervive is available for early access right now. You have Out of Action coming out in 2025. Hades 2 is coming out of early access to official release in 2025. And games such as Sifu and Kena Bridge of Spirits are already released if you want to try them out. Support your indie developers, for they are the future of this industry. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.
More attackers
Storm
incoming.
tightening. That squad has only one survivor. Triple knock.
Close your eyes.
Let